Alright, so what I'm doing this morning is I'm just going to go ahead and build a little deck right here, just so that it has steps and it's not like this weird awkwardness right there. Alright, and there she is right now. She's coming along quite well. Now I'm just kicking out the stair stringers, and it's really easy. You just go ahead and you do your first one, and then all you got to do is make the second one the same. What I'm working with here is they're going to be a little bit different because I've got a slope there, and instead of grading the whole freaking entire property, I'm just going to go ahead and make one of these stringers a tiny bit shorter than the other one. Like I said before, this side is higher than this side where I'm going to put the bottom of the stair stringer. So when you're figuring out exactly where to cut here with something like this without a transit, it should look something like this. You got to measure like that. Alright, and she's all tacked down and ready to roll, and I went ahead, and it's very unadvisable, but I went ahead and I used the lumber that I milled for this right here, for this rise, and for this tread right here. As you can see, that's the stuff I milled. I mean, it's wet still, technically, so I mean, I might have to yank that stuff up and replace it, but I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully it holds up. In case you're new to the channel, in the last video, I went ahead and I milled all this white oak lumber with my chainsaw. At the end of this video, in the top right hand corner of your screen, there will be a playlist. And in that playlist, it shows how me and my wife built this entire off-grid cabin from the ground up by ourselves. Today, what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a platform, basically. It's going to go from this door over here like an L. And then it's going to kind of cut you up against here so that you can walk out like this over here and then down or up or from, just like that. So that's the plan for today, and I'm running low on pressure treated, so I'm going to be milling up a whole bunch of I'm just going to go ahead and put wet white oak decking down. I got all these trees back here. I got a chainsaw mill, so I'm going to go ahead and start kicking out. It's not advisable to do that because it's wet, and I mean, it might cup on you, who knows, but hopefully I'll get lucky. I'm gonna go ahead and tack it down real tight and really rack everything real tight as I can. And when I do the screws, kind of try to do it like at a little bit of an angles, so that when it does dry, it'll kind of straighten them out, if you can imagine that in your head. So I went ahead and I got the log that I'm going to go ahead and be milling. I got it all ready. I'm getting ready to go ahead and cut it there and then roll it and then start milling it in this area right here. And I must say, and it's right, I'm going to be using the lumber from a tree that I fell right there to build the deck that's going to go right there. And I must say that my office has quite a nice view today. And I'm really learning a lot about this solar stuff. Today I'm straight charging my batteries, all of them, with just the sun. I mean, you just got to kind of be, there's definitely an art to it. It's more of an art than a science, kind of like milling lumber. But yeah, I'm just straight, this is sun charging these batteries, and I'm going to be using to build that thing, which is freaking awesome. All right, in the last video, I went ahead and raised it up with wedges. But in this one, what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I went ahead and notched out where the rungs go. If you can see that in there. And I mean, you can kind of do that with your saw. You can just kind of flatten the whole thing out before you put whatever you're going to use as a guide rail on there. That's another way to do it. Or you can elevate it. Either way, it depends on the situation. All right, so for bar oil, this is not recommended either, but I do it, and I haven't had too many problems. Every now and then you'll have an issue, but usually it works out all right here. Okay, so I changed the oil on this thing a whole freaking lot. And right here, boom, and I just go ahead and use that for bar oil since I'm doing so much freaking sawing. I legit have not left here for weeks, so it's not like I'm running the truck a whole lot and have a whole lot of used motor oil from that. All right, I just got my first slab out of my second log. On the first log, I got 5 nice sticks out of it right there, 5 nice boards. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add all this stuff up. But right here, okay, here's the second one I'm working on. And what it is that's just where it laid. And you always, if you can, I mean, you can see here, I did a little bit, put it on a little bit of an incline there, but you always want gravity to be on your side as much as possible. So, I mean, that was like super duper easy because I got that end so far up in the air. So yeah, it's come along good. And when I'm done with all this tonight, I'll measure everything up and I'll figure out exactly how many board foot of white oak. This is all white oak I milled today and an approximate value. All right, I just got done for the day and I ended up with just shy of 100 board foot of lumber. And here's the second log that I went ahead and milled all up, and that there's the first one there. And at today's value, it could go from anywhere from 150 bucks for all the lumber I milled today up to 450 bucks. So not bad at all. As you can probably hear, let's see here. It is raining its butt off. It's raining pretty good. And a few videos back, I went ahead and I put in this rainwater collection system. And I mean, this thing, it is just, I haven't even had to think about water since putting this thing in. And it works great. I mean, it's got 5 55-gallon barrels. And I show all this in a few videos back. If you just look in the playlist, you'll find it. It'll say water collection setup. This thing works great. It totally sustains me 100%. And all the barrels, they all fill up at the same time. And it's just freaking awesome. I really go over it in a few videos back. I went ahead and covered up all the lumber that I milled, those 2 piles right there. I covered that stuff up yesterday in anticipation for this rain because I knew it was coming because of the radar and stuff. And I used to be all like, oh man, freaking rain. Yeah. But now that I got the water collection system, it's just like, yeah, rain. So let's go ahead and fill up our water barrels. And I just went ahead and hung the clothes in here, even though I haven't been using the wood stove. They still dry pretty good and I don't have to use the dryer. Even though I do have a dryer, it just uses a lot of water. So I try not to use it too much. All right, so we had all that rain yesterday. All my lumber stayed nice and dry. So I made a video quite a ways back here. And what I did is in that video, I showed how to square up rough lumber. And even though I went into it in great detail, I still have people in the comments like, I don't get it. How you do the first cut? All right, so I'm gonna explain this real quick here. All right, it's real simple. All you do is you find the high edge of your bark, okay? And then you'd run a straight line, string line, like this, with chalk line. Boom to boom, okay? And then you strike it and then you cut that line, all right? And then you have a straight edge in which to work off of. And you can use either this kind of a square or this kind of a square. And once you have that straight edge, you can make the board square. It's very simple. And this is really cool here. This has a woodpecker hole in it, right in the middle. And I got everything, like when I'd milled it and all that stuff, like I made it so that this is gonna be decking and basically like that's gonna be trash right there. See, it goes right through the middle of it. It's a woodpecker hole. It goes right through the middle of the lumber. And then boom, just like that, I have a perfectly square 2x8 and it has a big old woodpecker hole right in the middle of it. And it was that tree right there. And now what I got going on is I got 2 perfectly sized pieces of decking and this woodpecker hole here. I cannot stress this clamp stuff enough. Sometimes I'll do crazy stuff like this to get stuff square. See how I got that on there? Then down there, looks something like that. And that's what's going on there. And then I'm just kind of out here, and if you can look and kind of eyeball to see on that bottom step, everything's going to square up or not. And then I'm just out here with this square right here. Just have this 2x4 on top there. And just make sure that this corner is square so that I can go ahead and figure out exactly where it is that I want my post that's going to be out here. So now I'm at this point, as you can see, and it's coming along quite nicely here. now what I'm doing is I'm working on this fan here. So as you can see here, I have this decking more or less laid out. I just have 2 more boards left to cut out. And if you're interested in exactly how it is that I did all these cuts and everything to fan this decking, because it's really not easy, not that many people know how to do it, go ahead and check the description, and the link to that video will be right there. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested in figuring out exactly how it is that I did this. Right, and there she is, all nice and complete. Just finished it up about 2 seconds ago. Got it all done, and there she is right there. And there is the devastation that took place as far as all the pieces of lumber and everything else from all the milling and all that other fun stuff. So as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.